Welcome to the Risk and Law module. It's the first module that you're going to be studying for the Environmental Health Distance Learning Programme. And it's a good reason why we've done this one first. It really tackles the key principles that underpin environmental health. So it's really essential that you understand these before you can move on to the other modules. Now, the way we've designed this is we've broken it down into 12 sessions for you to go through at your own pace. We've got 4 sessions to begin with that focus on risk. Now, risk is a really important topic for environmental health because everything we do really is on a risk-based decision. And what we're going to be teaching you is how to make those decisions in a practical situation. Then, moving on from there, we're going to be delivering 7 sessions on environmental health law. So this is the key underlying principles that you need to know about the law before you can go into practice. It's the general concepts that we will be developing later as we go through into the more specific modules. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'll talk you through some general ideas about the risk bit, because that's the part that I'm going to be delivering and responsible for. So as I said, there's going to be 4 sessions, and the first bit is an introductory session. It's about how people perceive risk and how people measure risk, and also how we identify hazards. Our second session is going to be about theories of risk and how we can put it into various models so that we can predict behaviour in the future. The third session is a key one because that really gets you into the practice, and it's about how accidents happen, how injuries to people happen as well, and the consequences of that. And then finally, the 4th session on risk is about how we communicate risk. You'll be aware, for example, of all the media issues that we have about risk that we get from time to time and how scary they can be. So as environmental health practitioners, we need to be able to make sure that we communicate risk in the most sensitive way so that people can easily understand it and we get the correct behaviour from it. So following on for those 4 sessions on risk, there are going to be 7 sessions on environmental health law. My colleague Nahum Kadan is going to develop those, so he will talk you through sort of general ideas behind those now.
My name's Nahum Kadan, and I'll be delivering the law lectures on the Environmental Health Risk and Law module. Now, the law is really important to environmental health practice because it offers us a means by which to prevent and manage environmental threats to public health. Over the course of this module, you're going to be looking at fundamental legal principles. We're going to start off looking at the structure and functions of the English legal system. We'll look at how the law is made, how policy is decided, and look at it specifically within the environmental health context. Furthermore, we're going to develop that, and we're going to look at the skills which lawyers and judges use to actually interpret environmental health law. This is the kind of stuff they teach on the first year of law degrees. So you'll be looking at aspects such as how to interpret legislation and how to analyse case law, so fundamental skills for an environmental health practitioner. Moving on, we go in to look at the European angle. The majority of environmental law and consumer protection law now comes from Europe, so it's important we understand how this operates alongside UK law. So we're going to look at the interaction, we're going to look at examples from food safety and occupational health and safety to see that European Union UK interaction. But we also want to go outside the EU. We're living in a globalised society. It's important we know how international law impacts on European and UK law. So we're going to be looking at international law in relation to food safety, so international food safety and standards law, and we're going to look at it from the perspective of the African continent. We're going to look at how international food law can help reduce the incidence of diseases in the African continent, but not only that, and how food safety law can also improve the trade capacity of African countries and enhance food security. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities for environmental health practitioners to work in the development field with NGOs, so an understanding of international law is critical. Furthermore, integrating law with risk we're going to look at how the law is used to manage risk. So we're going to look at important legal principles and powers which are used to manage risk in environmental health. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at examples from health and safety, housing, food safety, and environmental protection to give you, real-life case studies and perspectives of how the law is so critical to what we do. I mean, the reason in the UK we've been able to tackle the main infectious diseases since the 19th century is due to public health legislation. So from my experience in local government and in private sector, I know how important it is to have a really in-depth understanding of legal principles. It will make you a more effective practitioner, and hopefully you'll get that out of this module.
Right. You might be wondering about how we're actually going to go about delivering these sessions and how we're going to get some interaction in these sessions from you, because obviously it's very important that we can bounce ideas off of each other. So what we've incorporated is 2 sessions using our Blackboard Collaborate. There's going to be one session that talks about the risk sessions, and one further towards the end that talks about the law sessions. In these Collaborate sessions, we will get together online, and you will have the opportunity to talk to us, to have a discussion, to talk about any points that you're finding difficult to understand, ask us any questions, and it would be the sort of discussions that we would normally have in the classroom. We'll be able to have those equally well online. The other thing I do need to say at this point is, although Nahum has developed the law side of this module, he won't actually be involved in the Collaborate session, and that's because Nahum has now moved on to another environmental health programme, and it's going to be my new colleague Phil Gilbert who will actually be providing the support for the law part of this module. So what I'll do now is I'll introduce Phil to you.
Hello, I'm Phil Gilbert, and as Sharon says, I'll be taking over from Nahum to deliver the law part of this module. The law part will introduce you to basic concepts of law, as Nahum has already said, and I will be there to support the lectures that are available online, and also to support you and offer email and phone support throughout the module. I will also be there in the Collaborate sessions with Sharon to go through discussions relevant to the module at that stage, and to support you with the assignment towards the end.
Finally, I'm sure, as all students, you're probably wondering about how do I pass this module? What do I need to do? And of course, we need to talk about assessments. You'll be pleased to know that our final session, that's session 12, is really all about the assessments for this module, and it really tells you in detail what we're expecting from you. So I'll talk about it very briefly here. Basically, what we're encouraging you to do as you go through the learning process is a very good idea to keep a learning journal, and you will see that is incorporated into the Blackboard sessions. You need to keep that journal as you go through to track your learning. If you do that, you will find that your first assessment will be so much easier, because the first assessment is a piece of written information and it's reflective practice. This is what we're looking for. We want you to reflect on your learning in relation to general learning about the risk and law. We want 1,000 words on that, and then we want 500 words on your experiences of how you put together your group presentation. Now you're probably wondering now, oh my goodness, group presentation, how are we going to do that online? Well, we can. We can do that. We can get together online, and you will actually be delivering your own group presentation, which is the second part of the assessment. So what we're expecting from you is a presentation, as you would need to do in professional practice, on a topic which you will be given in session 12, and it's to do with a critical review of risk and law, obviously. And we're looking for a 20-minute presentation between all of you. We want you all to contribute to that, and you will be getting 1 mark for that presentation between you. But we will tell you much more about that in the final session. You will get individual marks for your written assignments. So I think that's all we need to say now in terms of introduction to this module. And I think now it's down to you to get on, have a look at it, and I look forward to meeting you all in the Collaborate session.